All right, it's been a minute, and we're going to go through my physical TBR today. And I think it's around 42 books. Might be 43 books. That's where we're at. That's the number, everyone. That's the number we're going with. I did count it. I did sort of organize things into stacks. I'm not going to lie. When I was looking through this, there's a lot that could be unhauled. I'm not going to do it right now. I might save that for a try-a-chapter thing next year or something. But I don't feel overwhelmed by this TBR because... well, some of them are short stories. We're going to go through my short stories. And, I'm never in a rush to get to my short story things. There are a lot that are for bigger projects and, I wouldn't want to get all done in one go. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff that might be potential unhaul material. And we'll go through that as we get to it. But let's start actually with the short story pile. If you want to know my short story collection anthology TBR, we're going to start there, do graphic novels, then we'll go into, the fantasy, sci-fi, literary, nonfiction space. We'll go in some sort of order. I don't know if I'll have timestamps down below because I'll be editing this before the holiday. But if I put timestamps in this video, they will be down below and you can hop around. So, starting with The Rock Eaters. This was sent to me by Evie. A lot of these have been sent to me by Evie. Big shout out to Evie, wonderful person in the bookish community. Great discussions happen on her channel and on other channels where she is a guest. She's great. And we buddy read a lot of short story collections together. And this one she got me because I think she heard it comped to Carmen Maria Machado, which is a short story author that we love. So I don't know. I like the cover. I like the guitars. I like the skulls. I like the bug. I like that it's orange. Don't know anything about it because it just showed up in my mailbox. One that I did learn about in 2020 that I got used at the Brookline Booksmith is Friday Black. And I heard about this when it was quarantine pages, and I was always interested in reading it. And so when I saw this in pristine condition at the used bookstore, I'm like, I need this. This is more literary short stories. I think the other collection might be closer to speculative adjacent literary, but this is more literary about, I think, the Black experience. I don't know if it's just America. I'm unsure, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of its project focus, and I'm pretty sure its collection is just one author. But again, yeah, I think it's just one author. So this is also just a collection. Another collection that has been recommended to me all the time, Evie got me a copy, I'm so excited to read this one day, is Sabrina and Karina. I hear this also has a focus on indigenous kind of Latin stories. I don't know if the author themselves is indigenous, but I love the cover and I want to read it so bad. So this is, again, I think more literary. If it does have speculative elements, I bet it's going to be more magical realism. But I'm excited to get to this. This is for sure getting read next year. Sometimes I plan when I'm going to read my short story collections. I don't have a plan for this, but if somehow by Latinx Heritage Month I haven't read this, I'm reading it. Another one that I was given by Evie, and I don't know when I'm going to get to this since I liked but didn't love the last collection I read, is Universal Love by Alexander Weinstein. I liked, I think it was Children of the New World, but I didn't love it. So I'm not drawn to this short story sci-fi collection more than other sci-fi anthologies that have been coming out. So I think that's kind of the tricky thing is there are a lot of sci-fi anthologies coming out that I'm really into, and I don't know when I will slot this in. So probably Evie and I need to figure that out, since I know we were planning on buddy reading these, but we did buddy read Children of the New World. So I need to figure that out when it'll be prioritized. We're now getting into, I think, my anthologies. No, there's one more collection. 2 more collections before I get into the anthologies. Oh, and I'm really excited about these collections. That's the thing. I'm really excited about these. This is Salt Slow by Julie Armfield. She wrote a gothic horror book that everyone's been really loving. I think it's Our Wives Under the Sea. That sounds right. And this is the debut short story collection. And I love short stories, especially if they might have some haunting horror vibes. And this cover is so pretty. And it's really short. So I have that, and then I read Build Your House Around My Body, and this is the short story collection by that author, which I know this is supposed to be more Vietnamese folklore, haunting, horror-ish short stories, so I really want to read this. So those are the collections. Anthologies, I bought these because one was on sale and one had a Karen Lord story in it, but these are kind of the best of short stories, 2020 and 2021. I haven't read either of these. I should eventually. But part of me has been reading a lot of new short stories recently, but I do want to get to these. But I also just like how they look on my shelf. This might be a problem where I just collect these and I'm really bad at prioritizing them. I'm going to try not to, but we'll see. And then the last anthology is one Ryan got me, and I really want to prioritize this, but I don't know when because it's also not my subgenre. And that's pulpy, old, classic sci-fi by female authors. So yeah, this is The Future's Female. This has been on a physical TBR. Oh, there is one more collection. I forgot about it. Gods of Want. I think this is mythology collection, primarily. Maybe not mythology, but there's mythological influences in these short stories. This cover is stunning. Absolutely stunning. This is another one that Evie just sent me, so I don't know a lot about it. but it's very pretty. I can't remember the reason she sent it, because normally there is like a reason, like there's something I've talked about in a video or something. So Evie, feel free to remind me why. Now to my graphic novels. There's only 3 in this stack. One is Batman Dark Victory. I have recently read Batman Halloween, The Long Halloween, and this is the sequel to that. And look, it's Robin! So yeah, I really want to read this because it's Robin. It's Robin. And I hear it's fun. And then I still have the 2 Buffys that Ryan bought me for my birthday last year. These might be saved till Halloween next year because I feel like spooky things. So if I ever do a nice spooky Halloween reading thing again, those would slot in nicely. On to the next stack, which I think primarily sci-fi. Yeah, I think this is my sci-fi stack. We have August Quito and the Mechas from Space. I really want to get to this. Hopefully the second book comes out next year. Maybe I can coordinate that, but I got this because it sounded like it would be a fun, rompy time, and I want a fun, rompy time. A lot of my energy lately is I want fun, or I just want something that I cannot put down. So I don't know if that's what this is going to be, but there's like a jazz pianist, and there are mechas, and there are bonds being formed, so it has a lot of my potential buzzwords. Another one that's been on my TBR for many a moon, and that's Brown Girl in the Ring. I do think I might be able to get to this in the first quarter of next year, because I do think I want to read this for my Reddit bingo. And normally the first quarter of the next year is when I try and wrap up whatever I haven't done for my Reddit bingo already. I've read Midnight Robber by Nalo Hopkinson. I want to read more Nalo Hopkinson, especially since I'm almost done with Octavia Butler's backlist, so I want to get more into Nalo Hopkinson's backlist. So we'll see, but I have this one. Speaking of Octavia Butler, I have Bloodchild, which is, I think I have Fledgling, Bloodchild, and then like the new novellas that Amazon released that were never actually like edited in a new way. They weren't published when Octavia Butler was alive, but this was. So this, I think, is Bloodchild itself like a novella in this? I don't actually even know. No, Bloodchild's only 30-some pages, so I don't know if there's actually a novella in this, but I like this cover. I bought it when I was in New York, so I'm happy to have it. Other sci-fi, we have the Prox Transmissions, which a patron actually gave me. It's created by a band, I think they're an Ohio band, and it seems like it's going to be a really fun adventure sci-fi time. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm interested. And then another kind of rompy sci-fi. Can you see how I'm trying to find things that'll bring me joy? I have the 2nd and 3rd book for the Chilling Effect series. I just love these covers. I think Harper Voyager does really fun covers. Like, I think whoever they pay to do the art most of the time does a really fun job. So I think those are all the sci-fi. And then kind of, more speculative fantasy. We've got Kashiel's Dart, which is a thing I got, I think it was like the day before I graduated. I walked around the neighborhood just being all like, I don't know, in my head, and I found a free library, and this was like pristine condition in there. And I don't normally collect mass market paperbacks anymore because they smudge a lot. They're just not the highest quality paper and ink and stuff like that. It's just like annoying for reading experiences when you just like move your thumb and then you smudge some words and stuff. But it was free, and I've heard really great things about it. If you've seen Series to Start in 2023 video, oh my gosh, this is on there because I own it. I didn't put this on that list. Maybe I should have, but I have the entire Son of a Trickster trilogy. So I have, by Eden Robinson, I have Son of a Trickster, I have Return of the Trickster, and I have Trickster Drift. I am excited about this one, but nervous because I know there's heavy material in here in terms of drug abuse and stuff like that, and some of those things can be a little triggering for me, but they're very pretty, so I do want to try them out. I was hoping to get to them in November, but my mental health said no, which is always unfortunate. Another one that's like, probably I could have put it more in a literary category, and that's The Last White Man. This is the author of Exit West, which I adore, and this is a novella, and I believe the concept is that when a character wakes up, he is the only white person left. Everyone else has become different shades of brown and black, I think. And I think it's meant to be one of those conversations about what if race was removed, essentially. Because Exit West was the question of what if you couldn't have boundaries. Like, I think it's that type of sci-fi experiment with a literary lens and discussion over it. I just really liked this cover. It kind of reminds me of the Kurt Vonnegut books, if you've ever seen those, like, colorful editions. I have the New Fond-du-Lis. I have this arc. It's my only physical arc right now, I think. And it's short, so I can definitely do that. I just also don't request that many physical arcs. If December lets me, I want to read this book in December. I don't think it's going to happen. This is like the one book that like I really wanted to read this year and that I haven't read, and it kind of makes me sad. And that's Unraveling by Karen Lord. I think part of me is scared that it'll be over. I think part of me is scared that I won't love it. Yeah, I don't know. I put it on many a TBR and I haven't gotten to it. And I really should, because especially since I'm a little slumpy right now, this is one of my favorite authors. What am I doing? So yeah. And this is a book, again, I know nothing about. I just showed you the short story collection earlier by them, and this is Bestiary. Don't know what it's about, but have you seen this cover? I would probably just keep these for the covers alone. Also, if the camera just moved, no it didn't, but it was Delilah. She's down here meandering about being like, why is there a city of books on the floor? And the answer, Delilah, is because these 2 bookshelves are full. And should probably get a TBR cart or something like that, right? This next stack has more fantasy. I just got this today. It's Heart of the Sun Warrior. Something that's a little weird. This feels like different material than the first book. It still looks pretty though. It looks good together, but like tactily speaking, this feels different. I don't like it. It even sounds different. It feels cheaper. It's a little weird, since I think actually this is probably more expensive with inflation, but it's still a very pretty book. It's the sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I am cautiously optimistic that I will have a fun time with it. I am reading this soonish, I think. That's the plan, barring mental health. A book that I don't know when I'll get to. It's a book that has a memory, so even if I never read it, I might hold on to it. It's one of those weird books, and that's The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry. I haven't heard that many people talk about it, and I think the few people who have given it like 3 stars or something. But this was one of those like blind date with a book thing that my mom and I both bought when we were in New York, and like, it's just, it has a memory with it. So even if I never read it, because I don't think it's actually going to be my type of, is it fantasy romance? Kind of urban fantasy romance, maybe with historical fiction. I don't know what it is. I know it's got romance, and I know it's got some speculative elements, and I think it might be in the past-ish. Oh, he's a petty con artist, and I'm already like, I was burnt out on con artists, so you have to be very good at being a con artist to get my love. I'm looking at you, Ren. I love you so much. That's from Mask of Mirrors, and if you haven't read Mask of Mirrors, this is my I haven't told you enough in 2022 announcement. Go read Mask of Mirrors. The 3rd book comes out next year. It's going to be great. This is another book that could easily be unhauled. I actually probably almost unhauled it this summer. I just haven't, and that is We Have Always Been Here. I actually didn't unhaul it because I was cautiously connected to the writing style when I tried a couple pages. I just didn't have the time, and I wasn't in the right headspace at the end of August to get to this. So that's why I kept it. Because even though a lot of people who have read it have been bored or gave it 3 stars, I liked the writing of the first couple pages. And if I like the writing of something, I can let a lot of things go. So cautiously keeping this. It's a standalone. It's a good sci-fi. I forgot to put in the sci-fi stack. I'm sorry. So if you were following the timestamps, my bad. Another one I have is City of Dusk. I need to try more of this. I just don't know if it's going to be for me, and it's very long. And like, I don't think it would be bad. Like, I think if I read this entire book, it would be a 3.5 or 4-star experience. But right now, I'm having too many of those. I want a 4 to 4.5 star experience. I want a 5-star, and I don't know if that's what this is going to be. I don't know. Oh, that reminds me, there's actually one more on my shelf. I'll get to it in a second. Actually, I should get to it right now, because it pairs well with this. It's a similar conversation, too. Okay, I got it. And that's a Stardust Thief. I forgot I had this because it was on the part of my shelf with all of my finished books, which is good that I got it off anyways, because Lost Metal needs to take its spot anyways, so good for current me, maybe. This is another one where I'm like, I might get a 4-star experience. I am more likely, I think, to like this one than this one. And maybe I'll do a mini review on both of them. Like, if I read both of them in the right amount of time, that could be a good, like, dual review. Because they have a lot of crossover, I think, in their tropes and marketing for some reason. Maybe it's just because they're both Orbit books. Maybe that's why. But regardless, maybe that's something I'll do to motivate myself, at least to try the first 50 to 100 pages of each. And I know the sequel to this will be out next year. So that has me cautiously optimistic. All right, now we have my nonfiction books. Yes. Oh, I guess the last fantasy book, I just have this book because it's pretty. I actually don't care if I ever read this book, but that's The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. I don't need to read this. It's just a very pretty book, and I just wanted it. And also I hear it ends with a cliffhanger, and we don't know when we are getting the sequel to that. So that's just always on my shelf, kind of just looking pretty for me to see. All right, but nonfiction. I've got 634 Ways to Kill Fidel. This sounded so fascinating when we were at this fair in New York City. It's, I think, let's see, it was someone who was, I think, on Fidel's security detail talking about all the ways people had tried to kill Fidel Castro. I think that's the premise of this nonfiction. and it fascinates me, and I like this cover. They have a whole bunch of nonfictions with these covers, and I kind of just wanted to collect them all. I have Are Prisons Obsolete? I have been wanting to dip my toes into prison abolitionist nonfiction. I think I will agree with the thesis of this work. Her name is Angela. My name is Angela. I think we're going to get along. I've been also told I need to read Angela Davis' works, and this is short. I saw it at that fair. Similarly, another book I got at that fair was The Red Deal. This is not written by like a one singular author. I started this on some Skoden readathon sprints, and I do want to finish it, but I was a little thrown because in here it references some stuff about Venezuela, and it referenced things about Venezuela that made me be like, I guess I need to read more nonfiction on Venezuela, because that is in no way how I have perceived the situation based off what my family has told me that lives there and what little I've gathered from media. And I know everything's biased and things like that, but it was such a dramatically different take on a situation that I thought I at least kind of had a good understanding of. So I kind of want to read a Venezuelan nonfiction first and then get back to this, which I know this isn't about Venezuela, but it was like one of those things that really jarred me. And I feel like if I understand where they're coming from that, I'll understand when they're referencing other countries and nations, the framework in which they are approaching those global situations is what I would say. And then this is a Louise Erdrich, which I think will start my Louise Erdrich stack. But this is Book and Islands in Ojibwe country, traveling through the land of my ancestors. This is very short. Seems cool. And then, yes, the stack of Louise Erdrich, which actually this is missing too because they're up there. But I'm not going to go get them. So the two that we're missing are Plague of Dogs and The Roundhouse. Those are up there, right? Or do I have them in here? Was I good to myself? No, I wasn't good to myself. They're up there. We're not getting those. I'm not standing up. So just know, those are also on the TBR. This TBR is definitely like 45 books now, because when I did the count, that was before The Stardust Thief and those two. So yeah. But we've got Love Medicine. We've got The Beat Queen. We've got Tracks. And The Bingo Palace. Antelope Woman, this is a rewrite of, I think, The Antelope Wife. The Master Butcher Singing Club. Four Souls. And Shadow Tag. And I'm definitely, if you saw my series I want to start in 2023, that is why Louise Erdrich is on there, because do you see how many I have? And I love Louise Erdrich. Like, she is my favorite contemporary literary writer. I love how she builds communities and stuff. I also talk about her in my favorite authors video. This shouldn't be surprising, hopefully. All right, this is chaotic. I am surrounded by so many books, so many books. But that's my update, because I also figured this would be good to contextualize what I have on my shelves before I start making my end of the year like goals check-ins, what I want to have on lists for books to read in 2023. Knowing what I have around me when I'm making those lists, I think will be really good. So I'm glad that I did this for myself, and hopefully it was fun for you guys. Let me know how big you think your TBR is, physical or ebook. No, I didn't go through my ebook TBR. The ebook TBR is not real. Okay? It's not real. Does it take up space? It does not. It is not real. It is not real. I actually don't think my ebook TBR is that bad, because I don't buy books even when they're free. So, yeah. Is my actual, like, mental TBR bad? Correct. But we're not here to discuss that. We're not here to look at my Storygraph want to read list. We're not going to talk about it. But let me know that number if you want to, or if it's too terrifying, tell me why. Leave a stack of books as the emoji if you just want to let me know you're here, and like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.